My white parents bought me for $50,000 in 1993 from an orphanage in Bogota, Colombia. And yes, I say bought sometimes because what else are you going to call it when you exchange money for a child? A child you then get to rename, put your names on their birth certificate. So ownership is obvious to everybody, and you have that proof. Almost like a receipt. But wait, you'll say, oh, but you can't return a baby. Nobody returns a baby. Wrong. The last time I checked, adoption dissolutions was like 5 to 10%. Wording is important because we're talking about human beings, babies. Where her fans are saying, oh, well, she's always been adopting all these dogs. Like, she has so many and she saves so many lives. Like, this was the natural progression of her doing that. Like, dogs to adopting babies. But anyway, back to the receipt thing. So people do return or try to return the children in their care. And usually a Facebook group that helps connect children whose adoptive parents don't want to parent them anymore find homes, but in a really unethical, crazy way. They literally will post pictures of the children, describe them physically, emotionally, mention any health things on a public platform so strangers on the internet can feel for them and try to adopt them. And so what is frustrating is that people are so quick to get offended here because they're like, oh, well, then that seems like it's something much sinister than you want it to seem. But when you look at it, you see that the United States is one of the few countries that allow for-profit adoption. And I don't know any other country that does it quite as elaborately and as expensive as the United States because, you know, we like to be number one in such fun things, fun areas. And while she hasn't outrightly said how she adopted or what country or whatever, she hasn't shared a lot of details, which I think is actually a really good thing, but I digress. But when you are familiar with adoption, the odds are that this was a private infant adoption done in the United States. Because overseas, the laws are a little more strict and pro-family preservation than they are here, because it's not a for-profit system the way it is here, where we're talking $20,000 to $75,000 per adoption. Not to mention all the fees and application things that people put in ahead of time that they don't get a refund for if it doesn't work out. There is money to be made in adoption in the United States, which is why a lot of these conservative people have been pushing pro-adoption education and crisis pregnancy centers that don't actually provide actual ethical medical care and instead will hand you a pamphlet on what your child will get if they stay with you versus what the adoptive parents can provide. Stability, Disney vacations, going out to the movies every week, latest new toys and gadgets, a safe home, food, but also fancy restaurants. And then under the list for like birth mom, what they can provide, just, it's like love and maybe 2 other things. And they do this because there are not enough babies to keep up with the demand here. On average, for every 1 baby that is available to be adopted are 25 to 35 different couples hoping to adopt that baby. So it's huge. It's a huge discrepancy. And then they treat this like a business because that's what it is to them. All about profits and losses and how to keep up with the demand for the product. And to do that, we have this system.